Alright everybody, welcome back to Kooloo-Limpah Tonight. I'm your host, Tingle, and tonight with me is the wonderful Bagel.
Hi!
Alright, so you guys know the drill. We have our lovely little interview here. So, Bagel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's good night.
Yeah, actually it's night over here too. But anywho, yeah, it's kind of been like an interesting day because scheduling's been kind of weird for us, and it's just kind of been odd.
Yeah.
So, what is your experience on Amino so far? Like, you're one of the older members, and what's it been like this past year for you?
Well, yeah, I joined when the app was still pretty new, like about 9 days old. I can definitely say the experience has been pretty much the same. Overall, really good, but it definitely has changed since the beginning. I mean, it's only gotten better. It's gotten bigger. A lot new people have joined. It made a lot of friends. It's just been a really amazing place to be, to, grow friendships, like I said. Work on, writing, because with all the blogs I've been writing, definitely been helping. Definitely drawing, too, because I would have probably never continued drawing if, I hadn't gotten the support from all these amazing people in the community. It's just overall been an amazing experience.
Yeah, and I can totally agree with you with that. I remember back when I first joined, and the community was just like the Soul app. It's just kind of there. Soul was the leader. Everybody was making blogs just about Zelda all together, and it has just kind of changed over the past year because Soul's left us. The community is not a singular app. It's inside of the Amino app, which is massive. And one thing that I will never forgive the team for is the reputation system.
Oh yeah,
hands down.
The reputation
Hands down.
system.
I hate it because it makes everything seem like a competition with the levels, the leaderboards, the titles.
Yeah,
It's just not...
and it was so much more satisfying to get reputations back before they changed it because it was so much harder to get.
Exactly. Now all you have to do is be on the app for 4 hours, and you'll already have about 100 reputation more.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool because when the new change came, I mean the app was probably a couple months old already, right? And I only had 3,000 reputation points. But since that's been put in place just a couple months ago, I have 17,000. What happened there?
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of gotten ridiculous, which kind of leads me to my next question. How do you feel about the reputation system as a whole? With levels and leaderboards and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's pretty cool that they have levels, but I mean, again, like you said, it can kind of create this whole people competition, right, going on, where people think the only way that they can be a good member is if they have higher reputation or a higher level. And I mean, that's just not right, because all of us are equal. We all are really good creators, content creators is what I was trying to go for. I mean, I think it's still kind of a cool idea to have, ranked by it, but it really shouldn't be to me, it really shouldn't be a thing, because again, it creates all the competition, and I hear people complaining about it sometimes, saying, oh, why don't I have more rep? I'm on all the time. Or, how do you get more rep? I want to be next level so I can be better. Personally, I think that rep should become harder to get again, and that maybe there shouldn't be such a leaderboards.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. To be honest, I'm with the whole group inside of Amino that's down with the leaderboards. I'm kind of cool with that, But at the same time, let's just let Amino do what they think is best.
Yeah.
But personally, I like the levels. That's cool. But when you put the leaderboards in there, that's where it all goes downhill. Because then everyone's just I'm the best. No, I'm the best. No, I'm better than you. And it's just not the friendly community that it could have been.
Yeah, which I also think it's weird that they take curators and leaders off the leaderboard.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. With ASL, being the first member to reach level 15, that was pretty crazy,
Yeah, oh my god.
Shout out to ASL, by the way. Go check him out. Anywho, I was really glad that he became a career, but then, he was off leaderboards. I'm that's kind of weird, So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Why do careers get taken off the leaderboard? But I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I can understand why they do that, because again, people coming onto the Amino, there's this thing that go around the stigma that people think that the curators and leaders are just like more important. I mean, of course they do stuff for the community as they should, but they're not better than other like normal users. I mean, we all started off as normal users, so I mean, I can understand why they're not there, but I just think they should still be there.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on from like leaderboards and stuff and the whole community system, or else we're gonna like get a lot of hate from that. People will be like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm sorry, okay, I'm just trying to put up my opinion on this. But so how do you feel about all the content that's been going around that's been solely around like Breath of the Wild kind of stuff? You know, how do you feel about that right now?
Ooh, yeah, Breath of the Wild. Well, I think it's honestly really a good thing, you know, a new breath of fresh air for the community. Because like it gives people like more inspiration to blog, like seeing all this like Breath of the Wild related things. It gives people more things to blog about. I mean, Breath of the Wild introduced a whole lot of new things for people to comment on and to write about. So I think that's good for the community, but I mean, I think it'll die down eventually. Like, it probably would have with, you know, if Amino was around when Skyward Sword came out, or at least how it did with Triforce Heroes too. It just kind of dies down a little bit and leaves more room for other Zelda games to come out.
Yeah, and I can totally agree with that. And when it comes to the Breath of the Wild content with me, though, I personally don't like it because I feel like there's just a bit too much Breath of the Wild content out there. Like, it's a bit overwhelming in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll go ahead and see like this poll that's like, oh, who's the best character in Breath of the Wild? But like, oh, okay, that looks pretty nice. Why I think this character is cool in Breath of the Wild? Oh, okay, that also looks nice. And you'll see all these recipes and stuff and the story stuff, and you're just kind of like, what happened to the other games? Because that's kind of why I liked Zelda Amino. Like, I liked it a lot because it was mostly this community that didn't focus on one of the games, but all of the games.
Yeah.
Occasionally, even the CDI games for those really good wisecracks. So it's just kind of made me feel like a little bad about it. Like, oh, poor Skyward Sword.
But
Rest in
so if there's a problem with the whole spoiler warnings going around, so if they're trying to spoil the story or any characters in the game, if they don't put the spoiler there, it'll get disabled. So that's not really a problem for people who haven't played the game yet.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad we have like the creators out there, like you guys. You know, you're out there looking out for us. We don't get spoiled with the story and stuff. And I said like a majority of these things in past interviews I did, but I just want to keep in mind with everyone. You gotta be sure to not focus on Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild can kind of like, well, if we keep talking about it a lot, it's gonna end up getting really dry. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and kind of tedious to see all these Breath of the Wild related content instead of like other games.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say that I hate Breath of the Wild. Like, I genuinely love the game, and I cannot wait till the DLC comes out. I don't know about you guys, but like, I'm all for new Zelda. But point is, try and focus a bit on more of the other games. You know, like that's kind of how we've been doing with this. You know, like first episode, it was just kind of somewhere. Second episode, Breath of the Wild. Third episode, Skyward Sword. Now we're here with the fourth episode, Majora's Mask.
Ooh, Majora's Mask. Love that game.
Never played it, but I hear it's really good. Don't judge me.
I've only played the 3D version. I've never played the original.
Yeah, I was thinking about like either getting the 3D version and a 3DS altogether, or just get the original version, but I don't know. Anywho, moving on to the next topic. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you ask this question like really often, because let's be honest, everybody in Zelda Amino asks this question at least once in their time being there. What is your favorite Zelda game and why?
I was totally expecting this question. My favorite Zelda game is Wind Waker, actually. It used to be Twilight Princess because that was the first Zelda game I played, but
yeah,
I'm gonna have to play the whole battle between Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and say Wind Waker is actually my favorite, and part of that's due to the graphics. Actually, I just love how cartoony the world looks. It's just adorable, and the story. I mean, I love like a little island boy getting dragged into this whole huge adventure across the ocean. I love that.
Yeah, and I really like Wind Waker for that too. Like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, they both hold a special place in my heart because those are the first two Zelda games I played. I actually played at the same time on the GameCube, which was pretty interesting, but I never beat them until last year or so. And so it's just kind of been like, I've been deciding which one I like more because they're not my favorite. Like, if no one knows this, and I doubt anyone doesn't, my favorite game is Skyward Sword. Next to Breath of the Wild, of course,
Oh, yeah.
but aside from Breath of the Wild, it's Skyward Sword, to be honest with you. But point is, I can't really decide between the two because you got Twilight Princess, its graphics are really good.
Yeah.
Wind Waker, it also has really good graphics because they use them in a way that it's just different.
It works really good with the story.
Exactly, and I think it's funny how in the end, and I'm not gonna say anything about the ending, but you just like play through the ending and you're just all like, how really awesome in cartoon graphics.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it just works so well. It's satisfying.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that they went with how Wind Waker went. So another question I was actually wondering about, this one more concerns not really like the community in any way, but more like the Zelda franchise. But what do you think is gonna be one thing that will never come back to the Zelda series?
Oh, well, we'll never come back. I mean, okay, I'm gonna pull the whole Skyward Sword thing. Sorry, I know you said that was the center of last episode. I know I personally liked the whole motion controls. They worked pretty well. But honestly, I don't really see those coming back in like a full-blown way like that.
Yeah.
Like, you have the gyroscope in the controllers for like aiming arrows, but I don't see it coming back in like a full way, like with the Joy-Cons or anything.
Yeah, and I don't really see it either coming back in that kind of way. And I'm kind of glad, but at the same time, I'm a little disappointed because I feel like there could be more stuff built upon the motion controls. Because personally,
Yeah.
motion controls work well for me. I don't know about you guys, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, it kind of,
It works for the most part.
yeah, it just kind of hurts a little to see it go.
Yeah. But I guess it was just the gimmick of the Wii because like the DS has the touchscreen.
Yeah, probably. But speaking of that kind of stuff, personally, I'm kind of glad to see this one go. It's the dungeon order. I think that's finally going to be left behind.
Oh yeah.
Because, Breath of the Wild has broken so many Zelda conventions that I feel like some of them are going to be left behind. Like you have to beat this certain boss in order to get a heart container. I mean, that hasn't really changed, but at the same time, it's just kind of been like, whatever. And then there's also the fact that you can get it in different ways. Like you can either do a certain amount of shrines, or you can go ahead and be a boss. This is just kind of like meh, either way. Or you.
Yeah, and
Oh, you go first. Sorry.
I was gonna say I see something like that continuing in the franchise. Obviously, not to the extent of Breath of the Wild because that was to fit the game's story, being wilderness everywhere. But I see like less full-blown dungeon order, like linearity, how to get heart containers.
Yeah.
Not just by beating a boss in the dungeon. And same thing with items. I mean, I'm pretty sure items are probably not going to go back to the way they used to, like, strictly be. Like, you beat a dungeon, or you go to a dungeon, you get an item, and you beat the dungeon with the said item.
Yeah, and after that, you can't really use the item anywhere else, and that's kind of disheartening, because you get this cool item, and you're like, you go out there, and you're like, I can't use this at all.
Yeah, and then you never use it again, and it just sits there collecting dust in your inventory.
Like, I think the only items that you really end up using in most Zelda games are like the claw shots, the bow, and bombs.
Bottles.
And balls. Yeah. Oh, and
which are strangely absent in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, like I thought that
I
was.
wanted to beat Calamity Ganon with them.
That would have been a great fight, but can't really see that happening. But you know why I am glad it came back?
Well, what is it?
Beetle came back, and
Beetle!
When I saw Beetle came back, I freaked out. I was like, oh, Beetle is back!
Yeah, and I love how his backpack is shaped like a beetle.
And he says the greatest things too. He's all like, "We keep coming across each other. Were we married in another life?"
It made me so happy. And then he's like accusing you of like following him everywhere. Like, are you stalking me?
Stop following. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, that kind of leads me, to this question. So, what are you glad came back in Breath of the Wild?
Well, as for a joke first, I'm really happy they brought cuckoos back.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I'm glad they brought back like how continuing as in they still had dungeons, like full-blown dungeons instead of just all the shrines, like the 4 divine beasts. I'm not gonna get way too into it because I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't played the story yet. But I mean, I'm just glad that they had 4 dedicated dungeons for the game.
Yeah, and I kind of am glad about that too. The only thing that kind of let me down was that there was only 4 and how short they ended up being.
Yeah.
Because it only took me about like 4 or 5 hours just to go ahead and get through one, and it's just kind of like.
And I mean, they had a gimmick kind of similar to how Stone Tower Temple in Majora's Mask had the flipping the dungeon upside down. I mean, they had a gimmick, and then that was kind of really it.
Yeah, and I kind of hope that they go ahead and do gimmicks again in future Zelda games, because I would totally go ahead and advise that to be like a thing you build up upon, because I don't know about you, but I think it's really cool.
Yeah, well, I think it was a really good idea, actually, to have just a couple of like main dungeons.
Yeah, but I hope we go ahead and get like the usual like 8 or 12 dungeons in the Zelda game again in future ones, because let's be honest, Breath of the Wild just kind of wasn't exactly a Zelda game without all those dungeons.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
So, kind of moving on from Breath of the Wild here, let's go ahead and move on to a bit more of a few divided discussions here. Things that are gonna maybe trigger the community just a little.
Ooh, boy.
Just a little. Yeah, so, this one's pretty subtle, but how do you feel about the secret groups?
Ooh, the secret group.
There's kind of, because, there's kind of like 2 sides here, like, people really like the secret groups. And then there are people that don't like them at all. They're just kind of like, no.
I mean,
I
can understand people coming from the side of not really liking them. I mean, because they are kind of like, if you're not in them, I mean, I can understand why you don't like want to see them everywhere. Like, oh, great, there's more people from those groups, but because they feel like they're exclusive. But I mean, being a member of the Secret Links, I mean, I honestly, I love the groups. I think it's an awesome idea having, a whole group together representing, a character. Granted, we don't always talk about the characters we represent. And just, I mean, I made a lot of friends in the group. I mean, it's been great to talk to people about random things, mostly Zelda related, and doing things for the community. But, I mean, again, I can understand why some people don't like it. But, I mean, you can never really please 2 sides of an argument.
Yeah, you really can't. Like, to be honest with you, I'm kind of like in between, because I like seeing these groups around because that shows that people are trying to get the community, get back together in a way. But I don't like them because of how exclusive they can be. Like,
true.
They're bringing the community together, but a bit divided in a way. Like you have the secret Ganons, you have the secret Links, the secret Zeldas, and there's also the secret champions now.
Yeah, like I think like the secret heroes or I don't know. I mean, I lost track of some of the groups.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of gotten like a bit offhand.
Kind of got a little old, kind of, because all of a sudden, oh hey, look, there's a new secret group.
Yeah, we need more new stuff. Like the articles can get boring sometimes, but they do bring new stuff to the table when it comes to Amino,
Yeah.
Which kind of brings me to another point. What article do you think is the better one here? I'm being honest with you. Like, which one do you think is better?
I mean, the articles, I'm kind of biased because I work with one of them.
Oh.
Lower magazine. But I mean, I love Hyrule Times too. I mean, it's good information because good, articles for the community to read, like you said. But I mean, Hyrule Times is more focused on the Zelda series, and Lower Magazine's more focused on the Zelda community of people. And I mean, there's also the Kakariko Chronicles, the Great Sea Journal.
I heard about that one. I heard about that one.
I mean, they're all amazing in their own right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to choose. But again, I'm kind of biased.
I kind of have to agree with you here. Some people are saying that Chronicles is the best one, or Lower Magazine is the best one, or Hyrule Magazine or Hyrule
Times.
Yeah, Times is. Thank you. But to me, they're all kind of. Well, I think they should work all together at some point in time.
Yeah, maybe in a whole other collaboration.
Exactly, every once in a while, one giant post together with all of their little things in there, it's not just bits and pieces from each one. Yeah. They go ahead and take the bet, what they thought was the best one out of them all and pile them into one big one,
Yeah.
That way, it not only brings them closer together, but it can also bring a bit of the community closer together because we are a bit divided on which one we like more,
Yeah, that could help, group everyone together saying, oh, hey, these people are working together, they're all the same, all amazing working together.
Yeah. So, this one's a bit of a big question on Zelda Amino, considering we have a lot of this stuff going on. How do you feel about the public role-playing chats?
The public role-playing chats. Well, yeah. I mean, if people like to roleplay, I understand that. I mean, some people like what they like, and it's fine if people wanting to look for a role-playing chat. But I mean, there's a lot of role-playing chats. It's overrun with role-playing chats, and that's all good and dandy. But some of the roleplay chats, I have to admit, are kind of they're not really handled well. There's just some people there oh hey, I mean, roleplaying usually turns to more content that really shouldn't be on an app 12 and up. But again, I mean, that can be controlled. I mean, I think it's fine, people want to roleplay, it's fine to have chats like that, but maybe we should try to I mean, I don't really know. People do what they do.
And I kind of feel the same way with you too. Personally, I used to roleplay quite a bit, back with Redu, Salt, and Oriana,
Yeah.
All great people, all those great guys. And it was kind of graphic at points, but I'm pretty sure Redu eventually made the chat private. I'm not sure, but I think that when it comes to violent role plays, which is what we would do sometimes, is to go ahead and make the chat a private chat. And
I agree. Make them private. I mean, if you're gonna I understand it's a way to get new people to join, but sometimes the new people who join don't always play with the rules you have. So I think it probably would be best to make most of them private.
Yeah, exactly. If you're one of those people, me personally, that doesn't these people who have complete gods as their original characters and can't die in any way. I really hate that sometimes. It's just kind of come on, dude. Are you serious?
Yeah, it's hard to cooperate with people and, roleplay with people and they're just OP and you can't do anything about it, or they contradict everything you say. And it's always the worst when you're doing an RP and then someone random joins and starts messing it up. So maybe it would just be best for, having it all public. Wait, not public, sorry, private.
And I think, when it comes to that kind of stuff, and hear me out here, I think that if they have a good reason as to why their character isn't dead, I'll roll with it. But if they aren't dead, for instance, the blows up and they're oh well, I'm still alive, and I'll be but why? And they're because
no, you can't.
I just am. I'm that doesn't make any sense. You have to have a reason.
No person.
Yeah, exactly. You need to have a reason. For instance, I was in, say this is a future roleplay or something like that. Be I was in this massive shell and the Earth's crust. I'll be I guess that'll work. You're still this guy though. Like,
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you had a fairy in a bottle with you, but
maybe. Or Mipha's Grace. Rest in peace, Mipha. So, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the whole role-playing thing. But a bigger question that has been coming up around the community that I've been seeing in group chats, who do you think is best? Zelda, Midna, or Mipha? Because that's kind of like the big three right now, you know?
oh no.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm gonna probably get a lot of hate for saying this, and I'm sorry. I'm just sorry already. I'm personally not really a fan of any of the Zeldas.
Really?
At all. Yeah, no, for some reason, I really find it hard to like any of the Zeldas. Which is probably terrible for me to say, but it's true.
Oh no, I like agree with you on that. Like sometimes, like it's hard to like get attached to the Zeldas because they aren't there for like a majority of the game, and so it's just kind of difficult.
Yeah, and sometimes the way they come across as being like either like high and mighty because of the princess. I mean, I understand that, or like helpless. Sometimes it's the other way around. I mean, honestly, it's a hit or miss for me.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way about it because like when it comes to the Zeldas, it's not that we don't like them; they're just not there.
Yeah.
You need to have a character be present and have stuff to say, you know, and just be them, you know. And when they aren't there at all, it just kind of ruins the feeling of the game, as you know, for that character more.
Yeah, for that character.
Yeah.
And you know, that brings me to the with the whole like between Mipha and Midna. Again, like what you just said, you don't have to be there for the whole game. So that's why I probably have to go with Midna because, you know, you're with her for the entire game. You know, her character grows on you, her character development. I love it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Mipha too, but she's not really there that often. And again, I don't want to spoil, so I don't really want to say anything about, you know, how she acts or anything. But I'm going to have to go with Midna in this situation.
Yeah, but maybe if Mipha was... Maybe if all the champions were alive, rest in peace.
I know. Like, why did they all have to be dead?
Yeah, this shouldn't be a... Okay, but let's be honest. This shouldn't be a spoiler at all. Let's be real here. Like, everybody should know this by now. But, point is, it's kind of... You kind of have to have the character there, which, again, this is why I picked Midna too. Like, Midna's my favorite one, OTP.
Yeah, I know Twilight Princess like in Midna too, don't you worry.
I ship it to like the next level to the point where I start reading fan fictions to where they could have been together. I'm like, this could be canon if I wanted it to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's how desperate I am.
I know, it should be a thing. Come on, Nintendo.
Yeah, DLC! Alright, yeah, so, I guess that's pretty much all we have time for here. But before we part, Bagel, I'd like to go ahead and ask you to ask me a question real quick.
For me to ask you a question, huh?
Oh, yes.
Well, you mentioned Majora's Mask earlier for like a really short period of time, and you said you haven't played it, right?
Yeah, I haven't.
Well, I'm assuming you know a lot about Majora's Mask, right?
I know like a fair amount.
I know
that. Like I know you only have like 3 days, you know. Can't like completely complete the game in those 3 days because it's just kind of like you have to decide. Yeah, you want side quests or it's just that's what I know of it, and I know I know like most of the majority of stuff.
Yeah, so that kind of leads me to the my question here. How do you think that the 3 day the 3 day limit worked for Majora's Mask? Like, do you think that was a good idea? Like, do you think maybe something like that should be like in a new Zelda game? Like if something an instance where time is related or anything, that something like that should come back, or if that was a good idea?
Well, to answer that first question, like, did it work for the game? Absolutely. Like, I think that for the situation the game was in, it really made you like worry about the characters around you and if you were going to make it or not, because you actually had a limit of time. The only thing that was wrong about the only thing that was like bad about it is that you couldn't do like some side quests while doing the main story. It had to be one or the other, really, unless you had the bunny hood. Like, let's be real here. Bunny Hood for the win.
Yeah, Bunny Hood.
But should it be implemented to like a future Zelda game? It like kind of depends there, you know. Like in a future Zelda game, it has to go with the story.
Yes, like something like it, where like something is limited, or something is limited to a certain thing for like the story. Like, do you think something should be limited like that again? You know.
Yeah, I guess. Like it like I said, it has to go along with the story. Like, let's say, you know, Calamity Ganon is back, you know, like blah blah blah, I'm gonna come back. But it's over the course of a year that he will completely destroy the world, so you have to find him within that year, you know? So I think that'd be a good way to like balance that out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for the question, Bagel, and thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you for having me. This is really fun.
Yeah, it's no problem. Sorry, you go first.
I was saying, interesting to be interviewed instead of me interviewing someone else. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're one of the interviews. That I haven't read the magazines much, but anywho, yeah. So thanks guys for joining us. Thank you, Bagel, for joining me for the interview. So I will see you all in the next segment. Alright, everyone, Tingle here, and well, today is an interesting day for the podcast because if you remember last episode, we asked new people to join our team. More specifically, we asked for a musician, an animator, and a co-host. And we decided to have a poll set up to go ahead and see who was interested. We took some people out of those polls. We had those people go ahead and conduct a bit of kind of a trial. You know, like the musicians had to go ahead and make us an intro, which you just heard a bit ago. I hope you guys enjoy it, by the way, because that's what we're going to go with. And our animators were going to go ahead and present us an animation, but that didn't go through all the way, which was why we only have 2 other people here instead of 3. We are still looking for an animator. However, more info will be given on a later date, as for now we're trying to get adjusted with these 2 people all together. So before me are Two-Face DK, our new musician, and Darken, who is our co-host, which I'm very glad that we made these choices. So let's go and start with Two-Face. Two-Face, can you go ahead and give us a bit of an introductory about yourself?
Well, hello everyone. As I was so profoundly introduced right back there, my name's Two-Face DK. I'm a small-time musician. You probably haven't heard of me. Maybe you have. And yeah, I spent most of my time making 8-bit remixes of, well, at the time Zelda songs, but also different kind of songs. And yeah, I'll be the one supporting you with some sweet-ass music, hopefully.
Yeah, we're personally really excited to go ahead and see Two-Face on the group here. He's been an interesting person too. I think there's a few other people that went ahead and tried out for the musician role, but didn't quite make it. Thank you for going ahead and going through all that stuff just to make it onto the team, Two-Face.
I'm just glad to be here, basically. Since you need someone who does the things that I love to do, I think that basically it's just a win-win situation, and I love to be here.
That's good to hear, because well, we'd love it if you were to go ahead and be here anyway, as you did go ahead and present us a pretty good piece for our last episode. We need a bit of that change.
Thank you. It was kind of an honor to honestly have my work in a podcast. Well, not just in a podcast, but have it acknowledged in any way, because to like such a small musician as me, that's like a really big deal. And I really appreciate you guys having me here.
It's no problem, really. Like, especially since we need a bit of refreshing with music. But we're pretty much helping each other out at this point. So yeah, I'm glad we can work together.
Yeah, same.
All right.
Definitely.
So thanks, DK, for going ahead and introducing yourself and saying a bit about yourself. So now we're going to go ahead and look at Darken. So Darken, welcome to the team. Would you mind introducing yourself as well?
Hello, random people that are watching this. I am Darken, or Darklink as some may know of. I am the co-host, and I just do whatever. Okay, maybe not whatever, but I like to do theories, rants, interviews, character theories, analyzing different aspects of a game or character, reading fan fiction, writing fan fiction sometimes.
All right, kids. Now that you've told us a bit about yourselves, go ahead and tell me what inspired you to go ahead and be on the show exactly.
I wanted to be the co-host because I enjoy connecting with people, overall being involved in trying to involve the community more.
All right. Well, we go ahead and hope that you enjoy being a part of our team, and that you really do enjoy as well making content with us, because that's what we strive for. You know, we go ahead and do our best to go ahead and make so like content is acceptable by not just us but the community as well. Anywho, though, as we're running a bit on time here, and I got a couple announcements to do at the end of this probably, we're gonna go ahead and cut this here. So thanks, Darkin, for going ahead and joining me today, as well as you, Two-Face. We will go ahead and see you guys in the future, possibly one day. Definitely Darkin, maybe Two-Face. I'm not sure though. But yeah, so you'll be hearing from Darkin from now on with me, and you'll also be hearing stuff from Two-Face, so that's gonna be exciting. So see you guys in the next segment. Hey guys, Tingle here again. Sorry for going ahead and cutting off the introduction short right there. We were kind of running low on time as things went by. It's been a really hectic for some of us over here on the team. Mostly a recorder, like still, I give him plenty of support. You know, like he's been going through some stuff right now. You know, like he's been moving into places, you know, doing his thing, and so I fully respect that. So we haven't really been able to go ahead and get much done for this episode, which is why we don't have our challenge or much else, you know. But next episode, don't worry, we will have some more stuff to do, and I think it'll be easier as we have maybe one or two more surprises coming up. So yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this 4th episode, even though it was a lot shorter than what we usually have, but still, we hope you enjoy our content. We will see you all in the next episode.